And so, look, I know you guys are busy. I know you got stuff going on. You're trying to find, the fake informant that now has gone missing. I know you're busy with that.
Wait, what was that?
Fake informant that now has gone missing. I know you're busy with that.
Well, it would seem that Representative James Comer just can't catch a break these days. His investigation into the Biden family is currently off the rails. He's never able to show evidence, and now his informant has gone missing. What's there to say about Representative James Comer other than the fact that nobody takes this guy seriously? Or the fact that he just loves to make accusations without actual evidence?
You asked on Fox News, is it bioweapons in that balloon? Did that balloon take off from Wuhan? We don't know anything about it. But you don't have any evidence that this balloon can take bioweapons.
I asked a question.
Well, if politics doesn't pan out for him, he could always star in the live-action Humpty Dumpty movie, because other than looking like Humpty Dumpty, whenever Comer tries to put together a coherent argument, he always just ends up having a great fall. When Comer took over as chair of the House Oversight Committee, he made this promise in a statement. The Oversight Committee is returning to its primary duty to root out waste, fraud, abuse, and mismanagement in the federal government and hold President Biden accountable. Personally, I wouldn't trust Comer, as he's a creep who repeatedly abused his girlfriend both physically and mentally. Kinda seems like the last guy you would ever want rooting out abuse, but hey, that's a Republican Party for you. So what has Comer and his crew been up to since taking over the committee? Well, not a whole lot, to be honest. I mean, I called it during the 15 rounds of voting for House Speaker. James Comer, Jim Jordan, and the rest of the GOP will waste millions of dollars creating Benghazi 2.0, 3.0, and beyond. They've been obsessed with Hunter Biden, his laptop, and President Biden to prove that Biden and his family have secretly enriched themselves during his time in government. And I don't want to spoil it, but there's a consistent theme with every interview that Comer does. He spits out a word salad, and then when questioned, he never provides any information about the informants, or evidence for that matter. And just to give you context, Comer has been talking about how he has damning evidence since last year. Here's the thing, there was no evidence then, and there's no evidence now. But that hasn't stopped Comer from talking about Biden supposedly peddling influence.
But do you have evidence of the classified document influence peddling from Biden? It sounds like you don't. You're looking into it, but why wouldn't you look into it in the same way?
We are looking into it, but we have evidence that the Biden family has been very cozy with people from the Chinese Communist Party. We have evidence that Hunter Biden was receiving payments that were linked directly to the Chinese Communist Party through those Chinese energy companies. We're very concerned about all the money.
How is that connected to classified documents?
Burisma in Ukraine. Well, we don't know. We want to look.
Comer and the rest of the GOP are tired of talking about Trump's crimes, especially the possibility of investigating them, like the classified documents case.
But with respect to investigating President Trump, there have been so many investigations of President Trump. I don't feel like we need to spend a whole lot of time investigating President Trump, because the Democrats have done that for the past 6 years.
Or like how Jared Kushner enriched himself with a $2 billion investment from the Saudis. Or the fact that Trump golf courses began hosting tournaments for the Saudi fund-backed Live Golf. But no, we can't question those things, only Hunter Biden, because according to Comer, they are not the same at all. But no matter the subject, Republicans will always point their fingers across the aisle instead of agreeing to investigate all of these events equally, because a crime is still a crime, regardless of a person being a Democrat or Republican. And like I said before, Comer has been unable and unwilling to share his supposed evidence with anyone during these interviews. But let's see if that changed during his April appearance on Fox and Friends.
Have you found evidence that anybody broke any laws?
Well, if the president was involved in this, obviously he would have broken many laws, because we don't believe that China. But with respect to Joe Biden, we're focused on him because we're very concerned that his family was getting this money because of things he was doing both as vice president and president.
Comer sounds like a student who was just called on during class and tried to BS their way through an answer. Well, you see, evidence is an 8-letter word, and do you know what else is 8 letters? That's right, Joe Biden. What more proof do you need? Comer also said he had several informants that he was talking with.
We have several of Hunter Biden's business partners who we're in communication with right now, and I think the American people are going to learn a lot more about this in the coming weeks.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I got a weird feeling that Comer might be lying, especially when a month after that appearance, Comer went back on Fox and Friends and then got called out by Steve Doocy for not having actual evidence.
And I know the Republicans said that the smoking gun were these financial records that you were able to subpoena and got your hands on, they show that some of the president's relatives were paid more than $10 million from foreign sources between 2015 and 2017. And your party, the Republican investigators, say that that's proof of influence peddling by Hunter and James. But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts to that point. You've got some circumstantial evidence. And the other thing is, of all those names, the one person who didn't profit is there's no evidence that Joe Biden did anything illegally.
Ducey turned down Comer. What a beautiful moment. But what could have possibly happened between those two appearances on Fox and Friends? Oh, that's right. Fox News settled their defamation lawsuit with Dominion and agreed to pay them $787.5 million. Yeah. That'll explain it. If you couldn't guess already, Rupert Murdoch is trying to clean up any additional financial liabilities that could come from pushing these claims about the Biden family without actual evidence. Comer then went on to Fox Business to talk about how Biden was involved in bribery. And see if you notice what he's missing.
Basically connecting dots. It's no proof yet. So far it's allegations. I mean, right? So we understand people are talking about it, but the viewers and voters out there want to see what hard proof is there of this bribery to validate this bribery charge.
Well, I think a lot of the voters are like me.
And right before that moment on Fox, Comer was on Newsmax claiming that he was pretty sure that a document proving that Biden was trying to shake down a foreign national for money was legitimate.
My question, how sure are you that that document is legit? How sure are you that it's the real deal?
Well, I'm very sure that that is a legitimate document.
Very sure, like 100% certain?
Well, you're pretty close to 100%.
And when Comer and his comical crew of Republicans held a press conference that would blow the lid off this whole investigation, this is what they said.
But are you going to be able to prove the central thesis that President Biden was directly involved with corruption without getting bank records for either President Biden, James Biden, Hunter Biden, showing the transfer of money or the payments of expenses that President Biden should have picked up himself? And secondly, on the FBI informant file, are you going to be able to provide us any more information today on that, such as which country it pertains to? And is there any evidence that President Biden has offshore bank accounts?
Well, first of all, with respect to President Biden, I don't think anyone in America who's watching C-SPAN or any other network that's covering this would think that it's just a coincidence that 9 Biden family members have received money for this influence peddling scheme.
There is still no evidence. This highly anticipated press conference was a swing and a miss, as Comer was unable to back up any of his claims to show Biden's connection to family business dealings. It also did not show any way in which Biden's decisions were influenced by those agreements or that he had direct knowledge of them. Now, I want you to remember this key part. While Republicans have criticized the payments as questionable, they stop short of calling any of the activity potentially illegal. Comer's so-called bombshell revelations are actually recycled material from previous reporting, which brings us to the most hilarious and embarrassing part of this whole thing: Comer losing his informant.
Hold on a second, Congressman. Did you just say that the whistleblower or the informant is now missing?
Well, we're hopeful that we could find the informant. Now, remember, these informants are kind of in the spy business.
Spy business? What is he talking about? Seriously, how the do you lose an informant? 9
of the 10 people that we've identified that have very good knowledge with respect to the Bidens, they're one of 3 things, Maria. They're either currently in court, they're currently in jail, or they're currently missing.
Huh? This is not like misplacing your keys or your wallet. This is supposed to be someone that is crucial to your investigation, and poof, they just go missing? But if I had to put money on it, it's because the informant never actually existed. I mean, you can't really lose something that was never there to begin with, right? I think it's pretty clear what they're doing. This farce of a committee is using a fake whistleblower to protect themselves from defamation. Comer's also facing plenty of doubt, including those within his own party, about whether he can actually prove the claims that he's made about Biden. So without a chance to nail the Bidens and paint them as criminals like they want, there's no political upside to sell to the Republican base, especially when they're already complaining about a lack of arrests. So in order to keep their base engaged, James Comer, Jim Jordan, and every other Republican lawmaker has to hope for dear God that they can keep stringing their base along until the 2024 election.
And so, look, I know you guys are busy. I know you got stuff going on. You're trying to find, the fake informant that you've now has gone missing. I know you're busy with that.
I mean, just look at Representative Tim Burchett, who has absolutely no idea or info on this missing informant.
Do you know the whereabouts of the informant?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Is he missing?
Apparently, yes, according to Chairman Comer.
Well, until next episode, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That? If you enjoyed today's episode and want to support the work that goes into creating the What Was That Show, you can join my Patreon at whatwasthatshow.com. You'll get access to early episodes, exclusive bits, behind-the-scenes content, access to the show's private Discord, as well as live Q&As to connect directly with me to offer up comments, questions, and suggested topics to be featured on the show. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you over on Patreon.